it's Jill Foster here with our next Simply Shimmerz, Simply Penny Black stamping video. This is a monthly video series where I combine my love of penny black stamps and the joy of painting with Shimmerz paints. And today I'll be using a set of shimmering watercolors. I'm using the Inklings paints from Shimmerz, and I'll be using these to create a sky and snow scene. And along with this, I'll be using the penny black stamp into the sky. And this is just a really fun technique, and it makes for very quick and easy cards as well. So here's a look at the card that we will be making in today's video. And you can see it's just very basic painting and stamping. So to start with, I'm working on Canson 140-pound watercolor paper, and I just cut a large piece of paper and am painting the background, and I'll end up trimming this down. So this is an idea if you like to or you need to mass produce some last minute Christmas cards, or you want to have a bunch of winter themed thank you cards on hand. Paint a really large sheet of paper, and then you can trim it down and make multiple cards from what you've painted. Now with the Inklings, I'm just spreading them onto the watercolor paper. I did tear and stick down a piece of painter's tape at the bottom, and this is just masking off a snowbank. By doing this, you can really add whatever colors you want to your sky and your background, and when you stamp that branch is stamped by Penny Black, it will look like a sky. So you can just have fun with whatever colors that you like. The ones I'm using are Olive You Truly, Good as Gold, Cantaloupe, French Twist, and Gosh Garnet. And those are the ones I used on the sky, along with lots of water, just letting things mix and run. I dried it with my heat gun, and I'm just going back and adding a little bit more to darken up the color, and using water to blend that. I wanted this to have a very textural look to the background, so I wasn't too worried if I could see brush strokes or puddles on the background. That's really what I was going for. And I'm just, like I said, going back in and adding more of these colors, blending them with water. Now the little pots of paint will come dry, and you just spray water in those to activate. I like to spray them pretty full and then let them sit for about 5-10 minutes so that it's very creamy paint. Now I'm just taking water on my brush, and the panel was dried first, and splattering it onto the background and then picking it up with a dry paper towel, and this will actually lift some of the paint and add more texture to the background and give it somewhat the look of snow. There you can see a look at the texture that's given the background and some of the gorgeous shimmer. So I trimmed down my panel, put it in my MISTI to stamp. You could also mount it to an acrylic block. And I'm just going to ink this with VersaFine Onyx Black ink and then stamp it right down onto that background. I did remove the masking tape or the painter's tape that was down at the bottom so that the branches are actually growing up out of the snow. To give that snow a little bit of a shadow, I'm just grabbing here another Inklings paint. This color is Blue My Mind. And I'm going to add that at the base of the branches. And I was anxious to do it. I just did it while it was still in the MISTI, but you could take it out too. Putting that on with the paintbrush, and then going back and lifting some of the color using water and then even just a fairly dry paintbrush. Once that was dry, I decided to go back in and darken things up. I'm using the same color, the Blue My Mind. And all of these have that really pretty shimmer, which I think is great for a wintertime sort of frosty scene. This is just some gesso, and I mixed in a bunch of water, and I'm splattering it on so that we've got even more snow. And I love the mix of the lifted color that we did in an earlier step and then the gesso on top. It really gives great dimension. And that is it. I embellished the card with a die cut snowflake from Penny Black and stamped my sentiment, added some twine and some pearls, and you can see there that awesome shimmer from those Inklings paints. This really is a fun technique that would be easy to mass produce the cards as well. Just painting a bunch of backgrounds and then stamping that branches stamp onto it. And again, that's called Into the Sky by Penny Black. And here's another look just at the some of that shimmer and the snowy background created by lifting some of the painted background and also splattering with gesso. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed today's video, be sure you subscribe to both the Shimmers and the Penny Black YouTube channels. I've got everything linked up for you down below in the YouTube description box. And if you order any Shimmers paints, be sure to mention my name and you in the comment section when placing your order online, and you'll receive a free pot of paint. And at the end of the video here, you'll see a list of all the supplies used, including the stamps, dies, and paint colors.